Volker Turk, United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Welcome to Al-Arabiya, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to start with Gaza. There are denunciations, outrage for the carnage that's taking place in front of our very own eyes. Israel continue in its human track, starving people, destroying Gaza, and now aiming to take over Gaza City, and also threatening to annex West Bank. What do you see as the best way to deal with this from the perspective of human rights?
Well, first of all, it is so important that we tell the story of what's happening in Gaza and in the West Bank. And we, as you know, we keep doing this. We are very clear about what's happening. We are trying as much as possible to put a spotlight on the situation. And we also want to make sure that the facts are provided. And the facts are the attack on civilians, the starvation, the famine, the destruction of infrastructure, the fact that people are displaced multiple times, that they lose. I mean, I have my own colleagues who lost 20 of their family members, for example, which is horrible. What needs to happen is pressure. And I think we have now consensus in the world that this war has to stop, that we have a ceasefire, that the hostages are all released, that finally we come to a political solution, which is a two-state solution. And especially events this week were very important. The New York Declaration is very important because it's the only way for both Israelis and Palestinians to live together. They need to live in peace in two states.
The 60th anniversary of human rights since its birth in 1965. You marked it by saying you're calling for renewed global solidarity and urgent action to uphold human rights, warning that the world stands at a critical crossroads where inaction could imperil the value and peace and justice around the world. In reality, what can be done to stop this trend?
We need a grassroots movement that puts human rights back at the center. And it exists. Because if you talk to young people today, I'm always inspired by their belief in human rights, by wanting to fight for a better world. I mean, look at what happened in Bangladesh last year. Look at what is happening in so many protest movements around the world where young people stand up for human rights for others. They say enough is enough, and they fight for peace and humanity and dignity and justice. So I know the world as we are today is very turbulent. There's no doubt about it, with too many conflicts around the world. But I'm also having hope in the young people of today. They are fighting for climate justice. They know that this is not the world that they want to live in. And they want, first and foremost, they want a world where people can live in dignity again.
Beside the youth of the world, what gives you hope in the face of human rights global threats? And even your office is coming under threat.
Yes, and of course we have to deal with this. We are very resilient and we never give up. The Secretary General in his speech was very clear about this. We never give up. And in the human rights world, that is our first principle. We never give up. We will always fight for the better of humanity.
So what else gives you, beside the youth of the world, hope that you'll prevail?
So if I look at statements of countries from Global South, from Africa, from Asia, from Latin America, from Europe, and also from voices from North America, they are subscribing to a world where the principles and the values of the Charter and of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights need to be respected. Sometimes political leadership tries to do the opposite, and we see this, But the vast majority of people believe in these fundamental values and principles. And we cannot take that away. These are legal systems that were established. And these are international legal systems that are established, international institutions. You can try to weaken them, you can try to bully them, you can try to do all kinds of things. But we are better than that. We will survive this. And, and that, I think, gives me more hope that the resilience of the system is there.
Do you feel that your office is targeted especially by some countries who are accused themselves of human rights violations?
Well, I mean, in my position, we are used to being attacked. It means that we are doing the job correctly. Because if it's almost a badge of honor if those who commit human rights violations attack you, because then you know that you have done your job.
The United States have withdrawn from the Human Rights Council in February of this year. Has this affected the standing of the Council itself?
So it's actually important to clarify one thing. The US did not seek re-election already last year. So they decided on their own not to come back to the Council. Of course, an important country like the US is clear, but the Council remains the Council. It remains a very important institution for the human rights system as a whole. And yes, of course, we wish that the United States realizes that the work of the Council is in their best interest, because it is about the fundamental values and principles of what we all stand for.
Is your office monitoring and reporting on human rights abuses in Palestine and Israel, contributing to any future accountability? And how is this done since your staff are forbidding from entering Palestine?
So we still have national staff in the occupied, in both West Bank and very few in Gaza. And we have our international team working from outside. We have very strict methodologies when we issue reports. We always have to verify 3 times in order to be able to issue a report. So our work is a very serious one. Sometimes it takes us longer as a result because we need to verify the information. But we are able to do it because we have networks, we have a lot of contacts, we have experience in this type of situations, even when we do it by remote. And as a result, we are able to not only monitor, we are able to document, and we are able to report on what is happening.
From your experience, you're much more experienced in this field, in the legal field. How long does it take, and what does it take to get the ICJ to move in the case in front of it?
So it's very important. The International Court of Justice issued provisional measures.
Orders, yes.
And these are binding obligations. So they already issued provisional measures because of the plausibility of genocide and for reminding Israel of its obligations under the Convention for the Prevention of Genocide to prevent genocide. So there are already binding legal orders from the court. Of course, the court will ultimately decide, looking at the whole evolution of the conflict, what this means under international law. But that's what the court is doing in relation to Myanmar and also in relation to this particular conflict.
How do you see the polarization that's taking place around the world and the threat that poses to the societies and to governments and to people? I mean, the UN has a slogan, better together. But in real fact, we're not together.
No, I see it both at the national level in many countries, but also at the international level, that we have increased divisions, increased polarizations. We have lost the ability to listen to the other and to hear the other out and to have a real debate with the other, where we can agree to disagree, but we respect each other. And we need to find that space. We need to regain that space. There is a bit this thinking, either you're for me or you're against me. Either you are my enemy or you're my friend. There's nothing in between, but the world is a shade of gray. It's a shade of many colors. It's not just black or white. It's so much more. And the big problems of our time, climate justice, inequalities, digital, they can only be resolved if we are allowed and allow ourselves to go towards the other, see the other as a person. What I see today is the scapegoating, the typical scapegoating of refugees, of migrants, of minority groups. That's not the future, that's the past.
Volker Turk, High Commissioner for Human Rights, we thank you for your insight. We thank you for this interview, and we wish you the very, very best of luck. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.